Hey, how's it going, and welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be going over how to make your very first Roblox game. But first, I just want to thank everyone for all the support on the last video. It did way better than I thought it would, and I'm going to leave a link to it right here. So if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go check that out. Because that video did so well, I'm going to finish one of the games that I started over the last year. So that's in between Super Saga, which is the dungeon crawler obby where there's hundreds of weapons. There's a few issues that need to be fixed. There is Anime Frenzy, which is the Vampire Survivors inspired game where you're supposed to just defeat enemies and try and survive for as long as possible. Finally, then there is Blox World, which is my most recent game where I just need to fix a bunch of little small things, but that's kind of like a tycoon, Pokemon style type game. So leave a comment down below and let me know which one that you guys want to see. So the one that has the most comments, or I see that, has the most likes, that's going to be the one that I will end up working on after I finish Battle Ball. On the last video, there were tons of comments asking how I got into Lua and how I learned to code so fast. So I'm going to be trying to give all of my tips and tricks and everything that I learned over the past year of development. So the biggest challenge of making your first game will be to learn how to code. Unfortunately, I've learned that learning to code is honestly a necessary aspect of game development, and it will open up your creativity and allow you to make any type of game that you want to make without being dependent on anyone else. Fortunately though, there are tons of resources on Google and YouTube to help you start to learn Lua, and honestly that's how I even started. Was I just watched a bunch of YouTube tutorials by the one and only Dev King himself. I can't recommend anyone else. Like, this guy, his tutorials were so good, super clear, super easy to follow, and that's really how I learned basically the whole base of my knowledge on Lua, because he goes into every single aspect of Roblox's Lua system. So I'm gonna leave the link to this playlist and to his channel in the bio. Please go show him some love. This was my starting point, and I think it should be yours too. Once you finish all those videos and you have a base understanding of Lua, the most important tool that I personally use every single day is ChatGPT. Say what you will about AI, I don't care, it's freaking helpful. So basically, I use it to either help me out with basic stuff or even more complex stuff, but one thing that you need to know is that it's not always accurate. Honestly, I think half the time it gives me stuff that I can't use or just makes no sense or it doesn't understand what I want. So basically, you just need to keep that in mind whenever you're using it. So just to give an example, let's say that you're struggling with making UI. So let's say I ask ChatGPT, how do I make a UI that tweens the size of every single button within that UI itself? So here it goes. So now it's just basically generating a script that will tween all the buttons in your UI directly for you. You didn't need to do any of the work. The only issue with this is that this script is super general. So it's actually making some assumptions, as you can see here, because it doesn't know what exactly is in your game. So it's just giving you basically like an outline, and that's really all it is. So you should be using GPT as like an outline to give you ideas on how to approach problems, or you can feed in issues like, let's say, I don't know, I have a bug in my script. Can you please find the bug for me and fix it? So like that's the type of thing that I use ChatGPT for most of the time. It's not as good for advanced scripts. So I know that this is a lot and it seems like common sense, but to be honest, this is really the best way to do it. It's how I did it. I went from an artist that did not know anything about coding to really learning how to code Lua through these YouTube videos. So really, it's what I recommend to anyone, and I'm not going to go into the details of learning how to code the specific ins and outs of Lua, but I think that the Dev King is the best reference for that, and then you just keep going and using resources, and by practicing, that's how you're going to get good. Another crucial part of learning to code is just practicing. So like, what I personally did was, let's say, I don't know, I wanted to learn how to make a combat system. I would look up a YouTube video, how to make a combat system in Roblox, and then I would just follow everything that that person did. I tried to learn as much as possible. I used ChatGPT, I used the dev forums, I changed the code that they use for my purposes, and I just kind of went from there. And that's kind of how I went progressively through all the games. It was really like, if there was something I didn't know how to do, I either looked it up on ChatGPT or watched YouTube videos like anyone else would, and eventually you kind of get good. So another tool that you should be using daily if you're trying to learn how to script in Lua is the Roblox dev forums. So this is something that I always go to when I just can't get the answer from ChatGPT and I just don't know what to do exactly. So for example, let's say I'm looking for pathfinding. So this is an example of someone that was searching for pathfinding, and this is a full tutorial on how to create a pathfinding script. But if you want something that's a little bit more niche, like, I don't know, how to make teams in Roblox. Teams implementation, here's more stuff. So this is actually the direct docs, which I also use daily. At this point, if you follow tutorials, you've tried a few little things, you use ChatGPT, you've gone through the dev forums, and now you should be somewhat ready to start working on your very first game. You should start planning out what type of game that you want to make and understanding what the trends are for that type of game. So what I mean by that is, let's say you want to make an obby, you should look at the top obby games, see what they do very well, and try and apply it to the game that you're doing. Now, that doesn't mean copy paste exactly what they're doing, it just means take inspiration directly from it. Another super important part of finishing your first game will be staying on task, and that's why I personally use Trello boards. So Trello boards are what allow you to assign tasks and basically identify what needs to get done and see the progression of everything that you're completing. So every time you complete a task, you move it into the completed thing, and that will just help with your motivation because you see that you're completing tasks throughout the whole process. Once your game is starting to feel complete, that's when you're going to want to start testing. So testing is actually one of probably the most crucial parts of game development because you want to start getting feedback from your players and what they think about your game. You can't take it too much to heart because this feedback is what's really going to help improve your game and make it ready for launch. Companies such as Valve, the creators of Team Fortress or CSGO, they test literally every single week to make sure that the game is where they want it to be and as successful as they want it to be. Testing will also help you find all sorts of bugs because, having a bunch of bugs on release is what really kills a Roblox game. The first 15 minutes of gameplay, if someone experiences an annoying bug, that's it. They're never going to play the game again. Through testing, I had to basically restart half of my games because there was too many issues, there was bugs, I had to add ability systems, the combat felt off, the UI was bad on Super Saga, and I tried to fix it 5 times and that still didn't fix the issue. So testing is really what's going to get you that feedback that's going to let you know if the game is ready for release or not. So there are a few expressions that we use in professional game development called the 3 pillars and the 3 C's. So the 3 pillars are basically your 3 key aspects of your game. What are the 3 key things that you want to have in your game? So this could be let's say, smooth combat, abilities, and anime. So these are your 3 themes, and you want to try and respect these 3 aspects of the game and always go back to them and refer to them whenever you feel like you're losing track of what the game is supposed to be. The 3 C's refer to the feeling of the game. So the 3 C's, they say that it's one of the most important aspects of the game is that you want the game to just feel fluid and feel good. So I think that nailing the 3 C's and then maintaining your 3 pillars is really what leads to success in game development. So what I think is honestly the hardest part, even harder than learning Lua, is building a community. It seems very straightforward and pretty easy, but the thing is that building a community is hard. Having people that are interested in your game before release is hard. You have to really start to post on social media, talk to your friends, discuss it in Discords, and really just build a really nice game that people are interested in playing. Without a community behind a game, it's very hard to have success on Roblox. You're going to need to spend hundreds of dollars on marketing to be able to get the traffic, to get people to play. That can also be done by publishing multiple games. So let's say, you make a bunch of small games that people enjoy and people will start to follow your group and people will then see the new games that you're publishing, and that will help to build momentum into your newer projects. So if we were going to sum up everything that you need to do to make your very first game into a list, the first part would be learning Lua. Learning to code is really one of the most crucial parts of game development. So learning to code, get comfortable with all the resources that are available to you, watch YouTube tutorials, watch tutorials on how to make games that you want to make and things that you're interested in, and really start to get comfortable with that. Then you're going to start to want to do research and start to plan out the game. So look at other games in a similar genre of what you want to do and identify what they do well and start to take notes on those types of things. Then once you're ready with that, then you're going to want to organize yourself. Like I said, I use Trello to organize all my thoughts and all my tasks because that's what really helps me stay motivated to build my games. You're going to want to also identify the 3 main aspects of the game that you want, so your 3 pillars, and then also really work on the 3 C's throughout the development. So you want the game to feel good. Feeling good is one of the most important parts of game development. Let's say that you have a game that's starting to look a little bit complete. That's when you're going to want to start testing, gather feedback, make adjustments to your game, improve your game. Really try and just make the best project as possible. Throughout the whole process, you should be releasing teasers and starting to build a community. Fill up a Discord, build a Twitter, even start YouTube if you would like. But having a community is one of the most important parts of building. Then, as cheesy as this sounds, the hidden gem of game development, the hidden thing that people don't talk about, is that you need to have fun. It's really silly to say, but if you're not having fun making a game, then the game's gonna suck. If you don't genuinely enjoy playing the game, then no one else will. So really having fun, enjoying the experience is what's gonna make your game come to life. I hope this video was somewhat helpful to everyone. If anyone has any questions, feel free to leave a comment in the description. I will try to answer as many questions as I can. Also, I'm gonna leave in the description the link to the group Discord and my personal Discord, as well as the link to the group where we're gonna be publishing Battle Ball, our next game. So thank you everyone for listening, and have a great day.